Okay, see. So yesterday, what we have learned, like anything, any operation or anything we are doing by hard coding the value. Okay. Let's say, for example, i- anything I was doing like addition or subtraction or any value which are available here, I have just hard coded inside the code. But let's say, for example, I want my value to be taken during the runtime, means it should be taken while I'm executing the program or I'm running the program. It should take the value from the keyboard. Then what is the syntax for it? Okay, let's say forget about class, enter name of the student. Now see, so let's say, for example, while running this particular program, I want to give the value of these data members dynamically from the keyboard. I want to enter it from the keyboard dynamically. So what I will do, I'll just use a simple syntax. That is, let's create an object first. Okay. Now see, so what I did is that first thing what I'll be doing is enter the name of the student. So it will ask me to enter the value of the student from the keyboard. So for that, what I'm doing, I'm creating a object of scanner class. And what is a scanner class? See, for example, I created an object, sorry, I created a class demo class 2. That is a class which is created by me. That means it is a user defined class. User created that class, user defines it, data member defined it, function. So it is a user defined class. But scanner scanner is a class which is already defined in Java, like the keywords which are already defined in Java. Similarly, Java has multiple classes which are predefined in itself. So similar to that, scanner is a you can say is a class which is already predefined in Java. So what we are doing, the scanner class is already present in Java. We are just creating an object of scanner class. Okay.
Yeah,
Hello.
yes,
Yeah, okay.
yes, yes,
Yeah.
Pritam.
Yeah, we are creating an object of the scanner class and passing the argument system.in. So I'll make you understand what is the argument which we pass while creating an object while reading about constructor. So thing is that earlier classes we saw that we didn't pass any argument while creating an object, but here you are seeing that we are passing an argument while creating an object. So you will learn about it while we'll learn about constructor. Okay, so just for now you remember scanner is a predefined class of Java for which we have just created an object, and we'll use that object to take input from the keyboard. See, so what I did is, so to take the input from the keyboard, there is a predefined function. See, in this class, demo class 2, this class is defined by me. The function which I have defined, that is add function, that is defined by me. Similar to that, Java already have defined the scanner class, and it has also defined some function inside that class, which I can use for in my coding. Similar to that, scanner has the next line function, and I am calling it. So what is the use or what is the work of this function? This function takes the input from the keyboard when I enter it in the keyboard, and uh, after taking the input from the keyboard, you use the value anywhere you want. So what I did, I just assigned the name attribute or name data member which I've created for the class with the value which are taking from the keyboard. So always remember the value which is taken from the keyboard is always in the string format. Okay, so as name is a string, so there is no issue in it because it's a string, so it will assign the string value to it. But in the next line, what I'm expecting, all the marks of English, math, science, it should be in numeric or int. So for that, you see what I did, then I am just printing these lines so that you will be having an idea for which data member you are entering the value. Even without this print statement, we can also directly take the value and assign. But having this print statement will just have an reference or assist us in knowing for which data member we are entering the value. Okay, so second, what I wanted, I just wanted to take the input for the marks of English. Now, the marks of English should be int. It should not be string because marks cannot be string. So when I write sc dot next line, that means it is a string. Okay. When I write this particular thing, that means it is a string. So to convert that string into integer, I use a method integer dot value of. Now, what is integer? Integer again is a predefined class of Java. Okay, integer is again a predefined class of Java which has a function value of which I am calling integer dot value of and passing the argument sc dot next line, because sc dot next line will after all return me a string only. Okay, so the value of has the,
Pratham,
yeah, ask me.
Yeah, like enter the marks code in English. Like as you said that the from keyboard we will be give string entries, but even we can give numeric entries, right? Values. So
Yeah,
why?
if you give 20 also from the keyboard, it will be taken as string. Anything given as
Oh, okay,
input from the keyboard will taken as string only. It will not be taken as numeric.
okay, okay. So every time we give
So,
any keyboard entry, we have to do the conversion.
If you
Required.
want numeric value, then you have to do the conversion. Yes. Yeah,
Okay,
ask.
okay.
You also ask.
sir, I was saying that this integer value that we are giving, this will convert this string to the integer, right?
Yes. It will convert the string to integer because sc dot next line, even now though I type 20 from the keyboard and input it from the keyboard, it will be taken as string, not as int. Okay. It will not be taken as numeric. It will be taken as string only. So what I have to do now is convert that string to integer value so that I could perform any mathematical operation in it. I cannot add 20 string plus 40 string. I can add 20 numeric
Yes,
plus
yes,
40
yes.
numeric.
Got.
Okay. Yeah. And I can print the name which I'm taking the input. The name of the student is C. Okay. So what does that AC dot next line return me? AC dot next line return me a string value which it has taken from the keyboard as input, right? AC dot next line return me a string value. See, anytime you want to understand what it is returning me, you can just hover over that function. When I hover over that function next line, you'll see the return type is string. Public string next line. That means the return type is string here. It will always return me string value. We have learned yesterday the return type. Okay.
Hmm.
Yeah. Okay. Now see, when I hover over value of function, what is its return type? Its return type is integer. Okay. It will return me a integer value. That's why I am able to store that value in obj.english because obj.english is a type integer. Okay. Here next line returning string. So I am able to store it inside the string name because name is a type string. To store it is the integer. Here it is returning the integer. And what is the integer? Integer is a predefined class of Java which has a function value of which I am using and takes the argument string. So sc dot next line will ultimately return me a string. So I am passing sc dot next line. It is equivalent to this thing. For simpler term, I am telling what is it. What does this mean? See, instead of sc dot text line, I can write. Let's say, for example, the marks code in English is 85. So this is the simpler representation of this particular line of code. That means it is taking argument string. Okay. For me here, it's 85 or 90, which I am entering from the keyboard. sc dot next line will ultimately return me a string. So this is the thing. Got my point?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, Pratik.
Okay. So I'm converting to it, and this particular methodology in which we convert a string to integer, this is called typecasting in Java. That means we are converting a data member, or you can say a value, from one form to another form. We are converting it from string to integer. Similarly, for math, science, everything, I'm just taking the input from the keyboard and converting it into integer and then assigning it to the respective data members. And in the average, what I am doing, in the average, I am just adding the three of them and dividing by 3. Okay. If I run this particular code, so it asks me the name of the student. Let's say, for example, it's Anil. See, the name of the student is Anil. Then it is asking for marks scored in English. Let's say for 85. Then in math, let's say 40. In science, let's say 12. The average score is 45. Okay. We got how to take
Yeah, yeah.
input from keyboard.
Yes, yes. Got it. Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Okay, good. Now let's learn about conditional statements. Now, here only, let's say for example, I want to check this particular, you can say a student has passed or failed. Okay, I want to just check this particular student passed or failed in his examination. So for passing, the mark is 40 or above. So for that, I need to use conditional statement like, yes, if he scored 40, then he has passed, else he have failed. So for that, we can use if else statement. Okay. Now, if let me assign this particular average if AVZ is greater than 40, okay. So now, what here I'm doing is if else statement. So what does this if else statement does? This is a conditional statement. So what it will check? It will check the condition here, what we have given inside if. If that condition is true, then only it will enter the inside the if block, else it will enter the else block, right? So see here, what is my condition? Average. Let's say for example, I entered this value, so average will be 45. So if 45 greater than 40, is it false or true? It is true. So it will enter this, inside this and will write the student has passed. If the average would have been 30, so 30 greater than 40 is false. So it would have got inside this else and printed this particular statement. Got my point?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So so what does this particular thing return me? This particular thing return me Boolean value. What is Boolean? Boolean is either true or false. There is one data type called Boolean. Okay, so Boolean data type is a data type which stores the value true or false. You can use it inside the condition of if and else. Okay. See here, here what can I tell? You want to ask anything?
Yes, sir, here it is necessary to define the boolean over there because it won't take it automatic like it's true or false, like you
See,
defined at the top.
this particular statement will return me boolean only. Average greater than 40 will return me either true or false. It is returning me a boolean value only. Okay. Got my
Yes,
point? Its return type is boolean. It is returning me a boolean. Here in this case, as it is 45 greater than 40, that is true. That means in backend after the comparison, it is just like this. If true, then only it is entering here.
yeah,
If it would have been less than 40, it would have been false. If false, then it would have entered in the else part. Got my point?
yes, sir.
Yeah. So for if this is the starting curly braces and ending curly braces, and for else this is the starting curly braces and this is the ending curly braces. Okay. So this is the body of if, this is the body of else, right? So if I run this, see, the average is 35. So he came here 35 greater than 40 false. So it entered else and it returned the student has failed. This block didn't got executed. Okay.
Sir, I want to ask that if I did not give the like you defined boolean at the top, right? B is equals to true, boolean
That
B is
I
equals to true.
just, yeah,
So
that I gave you as an
okay,
example. Do
okay,
not remember. You can remove it.
okay,
No
okay,
issue.
okay.
That I gave you an example to show you that yes, this is a data type also which exists in Java, like int, string, character. The boolean is also a data type.
Yeah, I just was confused about that only.
Yeah.
That's fine. Thank you.
Okay. Now here I am comparing the value with a single value. Either it is greater than the value or less than the value. Let's say for example, I just want to compare the value with a particular value. Okay, let's say for example, I just want to compare, yes, it should be equal to 40, else it will be not accepted. Okay, so what I can do is, instead of greater, what I can do is give double equals to. Now you can see single equal is there, which we are giving for assigning the values. Every time I'm assigning a value, I am giving single equal to. And what is double equal to? Double equal to is used when we are comparing two numeric values or two characters. Okay, remember it. Difference between single equal to and double equal to. Single equal to and double equal to always difference is single equal to is used for assignment. Double equal to is used for what? Comparison.
Comparing.
But always remember, you cannot compare string with double equal to. Why? I will tell in a specific class where we'll be learning about strings only, because strings itself is a class, and for that also we need a separate class. Okay. We can compare using double equal to, we can compare integer data type, we can compare character data type, but we cannot compare string data type. For string, there is other way which we'll be learning in the string class. Okay, so the difference between single equal to and double equal to is single equal to is used for assignment, double equal to is used for comparison. Here what I
Yeah.
can, yeah. code. But double equal to can't compare string value. It can compare only integer and character value or float value or any other data type. Except string, you can compare everything with the double equal to. But string you cannot compare with double equal to. Okay, so what I am doing is I'm comparing. If my average comes as 40, then it will print yes, the mark is equal to 40. Else anything comes greater than 40, less than 40, it will print that the mark is not equal to 40. See, the average is 40, so it's printed me the student has scored mark equal to 40. That means a equal to return me true. So it entered inside this block and it skip this block. Okay.
Yes.
Now, yeah.
Yes, sir.
Now
Okay.
one, yeah. Now one interesting thing is that although we are giving curly braces, if we have a single line inside those if statement or else statement, we can omit this curly braces. That means here I have only a single line of code inside the if block. I have a single line of code inside the else block. So what I can do is, even though I give curly braces, it is okay. I can also remove the curly braces. That's also fine. It will still be considered as inside the if block. But if you have two or more lines of code, then you have to mandatorily give curly braces. Else the second line will be taken as something else and syntactical error will be given to you. For single line of code, it's okay, you use or you don't use, that's up to you. See, if there are two line of code and I don't use curly braces, then that's a error. But for single one, it is very well if you use it or you don't use it. It's up to you. Okay, if I will run this particular code, you'll see it will run perfectly without any error. See, the student has scored mark not equal to 40 because average is 50. It came here. Okay, so you got it. For a single line of code, you can either use the curly braces or cannot use. It's up to you. But for two or more lines of code, you have to mandatorily use curly braces. Okay. Now, so there must be a question like if else, does that both of them always need to be written at one go? Can't I write only if? Yes, you can write only if, but you cannot write only else. Okay, you can write only if without any else statement, but you cannot write only else statement without any if statement. Let's say, for example, here what I can do is I can remove this particular line of code. Then also it's okay. No issues. If it will find it is equal to 40, then it will print, then it will do nothing. But if else was present, it would have done the part which was present in else. But if else is not present, yes, it will not perform anything if that condition doesn't satisfy. Okay, but the vice versa is not possible. I cannot have else statement without a if statement. It will show me an error. Got my point? What happened?
Yeah, yeah,
Got
Pratik.
it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I got it.
Hmm.
Okay. So tell me, if I remove you, any one of you tell me, if I remove this particular statement, okay, and my average came as 50, then what will be the output?
Nothing.
Nothing.
Yeah, there will be no line here. Okay, okay.
Hmm.
So this is single if and else statement. Let's say, for example, I want to have nested if and else. Okay, so what I can do? Let's say, for example, here I want grading system greater than equal to 90. So what I am doing is I am doing nested if and else. Okay. So first thing is I am writing a if statement. So for this, this is the body. I am not giving here curly braces because every if and else are having one statement, one line of code. So that is not required, but I can give it so that you could have a better understanding. Let's say, for example, here the if statement closed, started and ended. Similar to that, here else statement started, and as it is a nested if and else, it ended
Sir,
here.
but for the main else that is with the first if, we have to give
Hmm.
the braces, right? Because there are other if and else statement in it, and this code is more than one line.
No, 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 no. See, this code is one line only because after else, it will take this all as one line only. The lines of code which are writing by ourselves, it will take us multiple lines, but these all will be taken by one line only because it are present inside if and else, and it will take us one packet only. But if I would have written two or three step by my own inside it, then it would have been two or three lines of code. But yes, see, it is optional. You can use curly braces even though it's a single line of code. If you have any confusion, just use the curly braces as per the code. No issues. That is optional. If you are having any confusion, then normally use curly braces. Okay.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. Means inside this else everything is present. Similar to that, then one if came, and inside that else everything is present. Similarly, it will go on. Okay. If I run this code,
In the last line, you have given 80 again. I believe it will give the error. It should be
Sorry.
30 or 20.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Mhm. Else just I don't give any if. I can write yes. Do it. I don't give any if directly else. Anything come after that, it will be printed as it is fail. Simple. See, is 40. So it satisfies this one greater than equal to 40. So this line of code get executed. The system has scored grade D. Okay.
Yeah, okay.
So this is nested if and else. One one if and else coming another else. Then inside that else another if and else coming. So this is nested if and else. So you can use it for grading. Okay. Got my point?
Yes, I got it.
Okay. You're clear, Sahina?
Yes, yes, Pratik.
Okay. So this is one conditional statement we saw. Similar to this, there is another conditional statement which is switch. Okay. Here you are thinking that I'm only comparing what? Integer. I can also compare character value also. Let put out here. I can also compare, but in that we'll be using double equal to. I can do it also, but here it will see what is this line? Yellow line. Yellow line indicates that there is no error in your code. Yellow line is just warning. You can modify your code to remove the warning, or even though if you don't remove the warning, there is no issue. But if it's a red line, you have to mandatorily remove the warning, else the program will not run. Yellow line is a warning, like say for example you have declared a variable and you are not using that variable, then it will show a warning, yes, you have declared a variable but it is not being used anywhere inside the program. So why it is throwing me an error? Can someone tell me? If I'm declaring a variable and not using it anywhere inside the program, why it is throwing me an error? Any guesses? Sorry, why it is throwing me a
But
warning?
and we have not declared also, right? Did we? No, right?
No, no, not for here. I'm telling you. If I
Okay,
declare
okay.
a data member or a variable and I'm not using it anywhere, it will show me a warning, but no error will be there because code wise, syntax wise we are right, but it will show me a warning. Why? Any
It
guesses?
is taking
Yeah,
extra memory. It is taking unnecessarily.
Yes, you are right. Because the memory is allocated to the variable but it is not used anywhere. Unnecessarily memory allocation is being done. So Java gives us a warning, but it cannot restrict us. You cannot use the memory, it cannot restrict us, but it can give you a warning, yes, you are unnecessarily blocking some part of memory which you can free out for other things. It will give me a warning, not a error or exception. Okay. Okay. Now let's learn about switch statement. So you understood if else and nested if else, right?
Yes.
yes,
Yeah.
sir.
Okay, very good. Here also see warning is coming. Why? We have a variable which store the value of average, but we are not printing it anywhere or not using it anywhere. So it is showing me an warning. Yes, you are allocating a memory to this variable, but it is unused. So we are warning you, you can free it or free the memory for it which we are using. But yes, you can use it unnecessarily, but that is not a good sign of coding, because good sign of coding expects you to use less memory, run your code in less time, okay, and write the code in lesser line. So that's a good coder sign, who don't use unnecessary memory for memory allocation, and who write lines of code which are executed more faster and with little lines of code. Not you do a task with 100 lines of code, if it can be done with 20 lines of code, then you are a good coder, okay, because the execution time will increase if we use more lines of code, and it will not be faster if I execute that particular task in small, I mean few lines of code, then the execution speed will be faster and I can have a faster execution. So always try to write code which would have lesser lines and which will not allocate memory unnecessarily. Okay, now let's use switch statement. Okay. Yeah, you're asking anything?
No, no, Pratik, just was affirming nothing.
Okay, no issues. Okay, no. Now let's see what switch statement does. Switch statement is used to, like from the word switch only you can learn, like if you switch a particular, if there is a room and it has multiple switches, which switch you will be switching on, that particular electrical appliance will run and other will be in stop. So let's say for example average came as 90, so I am passing it as the argument in switch 90. So what it will be doing, it will let's say for example 80, it came as 80, so here it will be 80, so it will search for case 80, okay, case 80, so it will see that case 80 came here, so directly the control come from here to here, from line 27 to line 31, and after that it will run all the lines of code that are present after it, like it will be printing he has scored 80, he has scored 70, he has scored 60, it did not match the above values, okay. Let's say for example the average came as 40, so the control will directly come from 27 to 37 because it did not find any match in any case, It will directly come to here, line 37, and it will just print out it didn't match the above values. Let's run it and see.
Sir, one thing is, like you said that if we give 80 and the average comes as 80, okay,
Hmm.
so it will run all the code after 80. So it should
Correct,
not
right.
stop there and just print
It,
output.
it should stop there. We should expect it to stop there. What will be adding to stop there? I'll be telling you. I am showing you. That's why I know that we need to stop
Okay,
there
okay.
only. Come and stop there. I am intentionally showing you so that you can understand the use of that keyword which I'll be using. Okay.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, okay.
See. Yeah, the average came as 80. So the control came here. It printed he has scored 80, he has scored 70, he has scored 60, and it didn't match the above values. Okay. And similarly, if I'll give any other value, let's say for example, run a Java application, give any other value which is not mentioned in any cases, let's say for example 40, it didn't match the above value, and directly it will come to default. But in real time, what I expect, if the match occurs, like it, if it matches as 80, then it will stop, print the case line of code present below that case, and it will stop there. It should not go after that, because that is not expected for me. So what I'll be doing here is I'll be adding a break keyword after every case. Okay. So what does this break keyword does? Break keyword, when it is present inside any block, it will directly take the control out of that block. Let's say for example, here this is the particular block, inside all the break are present. Let's say for example my case matches with 80. So what will be doing, the control will come to 32, and after that it will execute like this particular line 33, he has scored 80, and then break keyword come. And what this break keyword does, the break keyword will directly take the control to 48 line. That means if a break keyword is executed, it will directly go out of the block inside which it is present. Got my point?
Yes.
Yes.
So now, as I expected, he has scored 80 will be printed, that only will be printed and nothing will be printed. Okay, now you can check it out. Sorry. See, only one line of code got printed, he has scored 80. Okay, now this is switch statement. Now let's move to looping. You got, you understood conditional statement, everyone?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Okay, now let's go to looping. Now see, or what is happening? Okay. Tell me why this error is coming in your view?
Did we declare I? No, right? Nowhere.
I declared I inside here
Okay,
only.
yeah, inside for loop, yeah. Okay. Then can you go to error? What it is showing?
See,
One second. Expected curly braces. Okay, so as for for loop, we have already given braces.
Semicolon should be there after for loop, right?
don't you see some major thing is missing here in this class?
Subgroup class demo. Um,
So if I'll run this
void main,
class,
void,
Void
yeah,
yeah,
main.
main
yeah,
function.
yeah, void margin is missing. That is the major thing. Is without that, what I'll do? Okay, so what is the
That
error?
the main
Public static void main
function.
was this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, so this is the for loop. So what does this for loop do? See, you need to understand step by step what I'm writing inside the for loop. So inside the for loop, what I'm writing is for int I is equal to 0, I less than 10, I plus plus. These three are three different lines. Okay. So first, you can say like these three are three different logical lines of code. So in first thing, what I'm doing is I'm declaring I and setting the value it to 0 for the first time, right? This is my declaration of I, and this is the condition up to which the loop will run. Okay, this is the condition. If this condition satisfy, if this condition satisfy for infinite time, then the loop will run for infinite time. Okay, and if the condition don't satisfy by a single time, then the loop will not run for a single time. And this is the increment operator which we learned yesterday. It will increment the value of that particular variable to one more extra value. Got my point? Hello? Hello?
Yes, yes, Pratik.
Yeah. You just respond with yes or no. Yeah.
Sure,
See,
sure.
see what it did? It got executed and printed the value of I from 0 to 9.
Nine.
Okay, let's see for loop or not is happening. See, now for I is equal to 0. Okay, does this condition satisfy 0 less than 10?
Yes.
Yes.
So I less than 0, 0 less than 10. Okay,
Hmm.
so what it did, system.out.println. If the condition satisfied, it will directly go to the what?
Printing.
Printing
Printing the
statement.
I.
It printed I, that is 0.
Yeah.
Then
Hmm.
what it did, I plus plus means I value
Hmm.
changed to 1. I is equal to 1 now.
Hmm.
Okay. Now for
Yes.
the second iteration when it come, it checked I is equal to, now I is equal to 1. The declaration finished. I is equal to 1. So it will check 1 less than 10. Yes, 1 less than 10.
Yes.
1 less than 10. So it will print 1. Then again it will
One,
increment to 2.
two.
Hmm.
So similarly, the loop will go on up to 9 because I, when I is equal to 9, 9 less than 10, it is okay. Then it will print 9. Then it will
Hmm.
increment I plus plus up to 10. Now when it comes from 10th iteration, it will say 10 less than 10. Is it true? No, it is not true.
No.
10 can be less than 10. So there the for loop breaks.
Okay.
Got my point?
Yeah.
Okay. So it printed from 0 to 9. Let's say, for example, I have a requirement. What I can do is I could just, although I'll run the code conditional statement up to 10, but I want to have an requirement like if I get 5, I'll break out. No more execution will be done. Just if
Oh,
I find 5, it will break out. It will no more execution will done. Although the condition satisfy for more conditions, that doesn't matter me. So for that, what I can do? Any guesses? Just now we went through it.
we will use if else inside the for loop,
Hmm. Then
and then we will
only if
write the
else.
condition. Yeah,
Then
only
we'll
if
write.
part we can get. Yeah, we will write only if part we can write.
Hmm. Then
Can you repeat the question?
And
no. See here, if I run this particular code and print I, so it is printing up to 10 because the condition is satisfying up to 10. 0 to 9 it is printing, right?
hmm,
Yeah, right.
But I just want, okay, let me do it in such a way if it let it print and see check the condition, but if it find 5, then just break it out. I just don't want any more from it, although the condition satisfy up to 10, that doesn't matter. But if just I find like 5 is there in I value, just break out. I don't need more in my output. Let the condition satisfy for more. That's not an issue. So for that, what I
We
can do?
we can give into the if statement like if I equals to 5,
Hmm?
then
If I
make the
is equal
value
to
to
5,
5.
if
Then
I
make
if
the
I
value
is equal,
greater than 10. Like we can do that.
no, just now we learned one
alternatively, we
keyword.
can use switch also. We can use now. If can't
Why
we?
switch will be used? No,
Okay.
this is the code which will be using. If I'll run it, you'll see. Oh, sorry, I'm not printing anything.
Mhm.
See, so see, it printed up to 4, not up to 9. Although the condition satisfy till 9. Why? Because what I told it that if I is equal to 5 means when it find I value as 5, I told it you just break out, and I already told you break means it will directly come out from that particular loop. It will not wait for
Hmm.
any more condition.
Yes. Hmm.
Got my point?
Hmm. But I was not aware that we can use break even in this statement also. I thought
Why
that is
not? Why not?
only particular
Break
this
is
way.
no break is a keyword of Java. You can use anywhere. Where break is used when you are like forcibly want to break something. When I
Hmm.
forcibly want to break the loop, even though condition is satisfied, at any point of time I will be using break.
It
Break
doesn't
keyword is
depend on the switch.
it. Sorry,
It doesn't depend on the switch. If we are using
no.
switch, then only we need to
Switch,
use break.
no. Switch is a different keyword. Okay, so it has its own functionality. Break is a different keyword. We are using break inside switch to assist it work. Similarly, I can use break anywhere where I have that condition of forcibly breaking something, even though condition is satisfied. Okay,
Okay.
Hmm.
yeah. So this is the case where I can break it. Now, this is the for loop you understood, guys.
Yes,
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 sir.
Pratik. We understand.
Okay, I can have a for loop inside a for loop. Okay,
Oh,
let's say Why it's showing error? Tell me. Anyone tell me why it's showing error?
For J, we did not use braces for loop, curly braces.
We didn't define J.
Yeah, we didn't define J. Either you have to define inside here or you can define here also. Anywhere you need to define J. Okay.
Okay.
Without defining,
Hmm.
I'm using it. Oh, sorry. Okay. Now tell me, even though I defined it is showing me an error, why? Any
Inside
idea?
the for loop, we have not provided the braces, right, for that particular block.
No, 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 no.
Okay.
The basic
J has
concept,
been.
object-oriented programming. I am accessing inside a main a data member without the object. So it will throw me an error. I have to create an object, right?
Yes, our object is yes, yes, yes.
So what is the solution?
Um, we will
Static.
create an object. Yeah. Oh, okay, okay.
Okay. We read about it
Yeah,
yesterday, static
yes.
and non-static. Yeah.
Hmm.
And if we define that J into the for loop, then it won't give us the error. Or it will.
Sorry.
If we define the J into this for loop,
You
yeah,
can define here also, like I have defined here int I. You can do int j is equal to 0, or also you can use after defining as a data member. Anyway, the thing is that you are using a variable that needs to be defined. You do it earlier or you do at that time. It's up to you how you do it. Okay. But if you use a variable without declaring it, let's say for example, I'll write j is equal to 0. Then what Java will understand? What is j? J is not a keyword which is already defined in Java. I need to make Java understand what is J. If I'll write int J, then Java will understand, yes, J is a type of type int. Else, if I'll write J is equal to 0, then how it will understand it is int or string or character or float, what it is.
I have a question, Pratik. Let's say
Hmm.
we declared J as a static variable, but didn't we discuss yesterday to call a static data member also? We need to call them, right? Either by class name or by object name. So
Mm-hmm.
how is that being implemented here? We are not explicitly calling by any class or object name here in this for loop. I'm
Static.
confused here.
Yeah, I got it. I got you. So static data member either can be called using class name, either can be called using object name, or either can be called directly.
Okay, okay. Mm,
Okay, but
mm,
this thing will be more clearer to you when we'll be learning access modifier, that is private, protected, public, default.
mm,
That will be more clear to you. Anyways, okay. Now see. So what? Now you tell me
uh,
what will be the output of this
so one
particular.
question:
Yeah.
if I
Ask.
define J in this for loop, then there is no need to use a static end over at the start of
I
this.
told, no, I told you can define J inside the for loop also. I can use it. This is one way. This is one way. You go with your own way. Which one you want, right? There are. If you want to reach a destination, you can reach by bike. You can reach by uh, rickshaw. You can reach by car. It's up to you which way you take. I showed you another way because I have already shown that way here. So I showed you another way how to use it. Okay.
Yes,
Hello.
okay.
Got my point?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So now you tell me what will be the output of this particular function. Just let me make it 5. What will be the output?
So at first it will compare 0 is less than 5 or not. It is less than 5. It printed 0. Okay. So After that, it will go inside that block, which means the second for loop, and it finds, and here the j is initially 0. Okay, so it is finding that whether j, which is 0, is less than 1 or not, which is I value. So it find out that 0 is less than 1. So it will print j value, which is again 0. Then again it went to that I plus plus and incremented I value. Is it correct?
It won't give any, because
Yes, this is the
zero is not less than zero.
yeah, right. Nothing will be printed. Just run it. Let's see what happens. No, just and one more thing is that I see if I write system.out.println, what it does, it print the value and press enter. Means it will print one and press enter so that the cursor will go to the next line. But if I will write just print, what it will do, it will not press enter. It will print one and it will remain the cursor here only.
Hmm.
Understand difference between print and println. If I'll write print, it will print the value and make the cursor remain here. But if I'll write println, it will print the value and make the cursor to go to the next line. Okay.
Fine. Hmm.
Mm. So what I can do here is now I'll run the code. See,
Hmm.
able to understand why it got printed like this?
Yeah, for
This is
every loop,
Yeah,
whatever the.
this is the interview question. Remember it.
Okay.
Okay.
for zero it won't print anything. For one,
See,
for I is equal to 1, it will print
this one
0.
is for 0. This first line is for 0. This is for 1. This is for 2. This is for 3. This is for 4. And after 4,
Yeah, yeah.
outer loop will not be executed. So let's
Mhm.
understand in Notepad. Okay. Now, see, for I is equal to 0, what is happening? It will enter inside this loop, means inside the body. So there will be one statement for j is equal to 0, just replace I with 0. For j is equal to 0, j less than 0, j plus plus. So in the first statement only it will not satisfy. So nothing will be printed. Means this line will not be printed for any time because j is equal to 0, j less than 0. The first time only the j condition is not satisfied. So it will not be printed. Okay. So this loop doesn't work for I is equal to 0. So it will come to this line system.out.println. There is nothing inside it. So what will be done? It will just move the cursor from the first line to second line. That's it. There is nothing, no value. If there would have any value, it would have printed and then move the cursor to the next line. But as there is no value, it will just move my cursor to the next line. Okay, got my point?
Yes, yes.
Yes, yes.
Now, for I is equal to 1, what will happen? It will go inside here. Now what will happen? For I is equal to 1, I will be having this particular statement. Instead of I will just put 1 and
Hmm.
this particular line. So what will happen? The first condition j is equal to 0, j 0 less than 1, right? So it will print 0. And here as there is print, so the cursor will remain after here only after printing 0. Then it got incremented with 1, then it will come 1 less than 1, no, it's false. So it will come out of that loop and will execute this particular line system.out.println. So my cursor will move, cursor will move to the next line with a enter, right? Now,
Yes, sir, right.
now for I is equal to 2, what will happen? J will be less than 2.
Yes.
Now see, Now it will be executed for j is equal to 0, j less than 2, j plus plus. The first condition is 0 less than 2, write system.out.print j. So it will print 0. Now j value will be incremented with one value. So it will be 1, 1 less than 2. Yes, it's right. So print 1. So 1 will be printed. Now it incremented to 2, 2 less than 2, no, false. It will come out of that loop and will print that particular and it will execute this particular line. So cursor will move to the third line. Similarly, then I is equal to 3. So j is equal to 0, j less than 3, j plus plus, what will happen? For 0, it will satisfy, it will print 0. For 1, it will satisfy, it will print 1. So here it will be 3, right? For I is equal to 3, it will be 3. And for 2, it will satisfy, it will print 2. But for 3, it will not satisfy, it will come out of the loop. It will execute this particular line and will go to the cursor will go to the next line. Similarly, the case goes for 4 and it got printed 0, 1, 2, 3. Got how it got printed?
Yes, J part I got it. I have a query on that I loop, Prateek. That one. So after checking that whether I is less than 5 or not, it directly enters to the another to the block of for loop, right? And it starts comparing. It starts the for J loop, right? It starts
Uh,
doing that,
hmm,
and
hmm,
then prints the value. So when it
hmm,
comes to the break, it come out of the break and then it printed to the next line, then it goes there and increments the I value.
hmm.
uh,
Because
Correct.
this for loop is a statement for this for loop. We are this
Hmm,
loop is itself a statement for the outer loop only, right?
yes,
So this is one statement, this is another statement.
yes,
There are two
statement.
statements for this for loop. The outer loop has two statements. This is one statement, this is one statement. So first it will do this job, then it will come to here. As this is only one line of code, so I am not using curly braces. Else it will be more clear if I use curly braces. So this is the case. Got my point?
Yes, yes.
Now you understood how it printed this particular value.
Yeah, clearly. Yes.
The
Yes,
interview
clear.
they will ask. Yeah, ask us. Hello.
No, sir, clear. No,
Okay. So interview they will ask you to print a star triangle. Here the triangle is not formed. Here it a right angle triangle is formed. They will ask you to print a equilateral triangle which has angle 60 degrees. Then how will you print it? Tell me.
We definitely need two loops because to print this side the way it works. But do we have to add um, another loop also to print that remaining
So
part,
that's
the left side?
yeah, that's I'm asking you how to print it, how to do it.
Okay. We will we will make every time like here we printed at I less than 5, we will compare like in the second for loop we have compared right j less than I or not. So in the first for loop also we can compare I less than j or not. Can that be done?
Let's see how it can be done.
Okay.
These are interview questions, so focus on it. Okay.
Hmm.
Mhm. See, now you got a equilateral triangle,
Yeah.
Yes.
but earlier you were getting a right angle triangle, right?
Hmm.
So what I did here, understand from the loop.
So we
Are you
created
getting?
another loop. Yeah,
I create.
getting, but
I just did one more thing is I created another loop where I just printed the spaces. So for first time, printed 4 spaces because I need to move to the. It should have 4 spaces, 3 spaces, 2 spaces. No, no, sorry. It's spaces are from here only. It has 4 spaces. Nothing is printed because condition doesn't satisfy. Then 3 spaces, then 2 spaces, then 1 space, then 0 space, so that I could have equilateral triangle, right? So for the first time, while I'm printing, for the first time while I'm printing, I will be having 2 spaces. Okay. So to have it, what I'm doing is I'm running the loop in reverse order. Here what I have done, 0, then I'm incremented one by one, then I compared with 5. But here at what I did, 5 minus I. So what it will do, k is equal to 5 minus 0 for the first time. So what it will be there,
5.
for, for k is equal to 5, k greater than 0, k minus minus. Just print space, a single space. Okay. Now see what will happening for I is equal to 0. What it will do, k is equal to 5, k
Yes.
greater than k greater than 0, k minus minus. So what will do, it will check for the first time, 5 greater than 0, yes, it will print a space, then minus minus, k is equal to 4, 4 greater than 0, yes, it will
Yes.
print one space, then it will be 3, 3 greater than 0, yes, it will print one space, then it will go on up to 4, sorry, up to 1, right?
Yes, sir.
Now, after the spaces are printed, it will print the value. As for the first time, there is no value, so it will not print. But for the second time, when it will come, I is equal to 1, so it will be 4. 5 minus I, it will be 4. Now, how many times the spaces will be printed? 4, 3, 2, 1.
1.
4 times the
One.
spaces will be printed.
Yeah.
Here 5 times spaces was printed, here 4 times spaces printed, and after that, as for the previous time, the value got printed. That is 0 got printed for the first time. Got my point? Huh?
Yes, sir.
Yes. K we are using only to print those spaces.
Yeah,
Okay.
if you print the spaces
Hmm.
only, then it will move pushed forward so that you can have equilateral triangle, na? Else it was
Hmm.
having a right angle triangle.
Correct. Correct. Hmm.
They can ask you either print 0, 1, 2, or they can ask you just this thing. You can also print this also. They will ask you to print star.
Hmm.
Okay. They can also ask you this thing. You can print a star triangle. Okay. Instead of value, just replace it with star. The star will be printed or.
Yeah.
Okay. Now you got clear. This is an interview question. Remember it. Now for loop got over, and we also learned how to use one for loop inside another for loop. Now let's run do while and while loop. Okay, if I want to comment a multiple line of code, what I can do? Just select it. Okay, and you can do one thing. You could just give backslash star, then star backslash. So it will comment multiple lines of code. For single line of commenting single line of code, we'll be using double backslash. For commenting multiple line of code, I'll be using backslash star backslash star. Okay. Yeah. See. So if I is greater than 5, so what I will be doing is just write me. Let me write the lines of code. Just let's use J because it's already declared. See, you can say it will come here. It will check the condition J is 0. It will check the condition 0 greater than 5. Yes, it will enter inside that particular loop. It will print that value, and then it will again
Hmm.
increment the J value. Similarly, it goes on increasing up to J is equal to 5. So when J is equal to 5, 5 greater than 5, it will not satisfy and it will break out. So it will
Hmm.
print up to what? 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. It's just similar to for loop, only the syntax is different. Means the
Hmm.
way I'm writing it is different. If I'll run this,
We need to reverse the sign. 0 is not
yeah,
greater
means
than 5.
oh, sorry, sorry,
Should
sorry.
be,
That's why
it should be
nothing.
less than.
Yeah, yeah. Yes, that's why nothing is printed because for the first time only it doesn't satisfy the condition, right?
Yes.
Yes, yes, yes. Hmm.
Yeah. See, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4.
Hmm.
Yeah.
So what, as I already told, this greater than, smaller than, double equal to, they all return me true or false. If I'll write here Boolean, true and false means Boolean. Boolean V is equal to true.
Hmm.
I can directly use it here also, B, because it is a true. After all, a greater than 5, a less than 5 return me true only, right? So if I directly use the Boolean variable which has a value true or false, then that particular thing can be used, right? Hello.
Yeah, no, come
No,
again, please. Like,
didn't get it.
instead,
This I greater than 5 either return me true or false
correct.
in backend. Okay.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So
Yeah,
if I have a Boolean variable which has value true or false, directly I can use B, right?
Yeah, we can.
Got my point?
yeah, yeah. Instead of that, another variable. Yeah.
No, no, instead of the comparison, I can use the Boolean variable because it is ultimately true or false. If I write I less than 5, in backend it is returning me true or false. Okay.
Hmm.
So if I directly have a Boolean value, I can directly write here it is true or false. So can you tell me what will be the output for here? Any
But this
idea?
is not
So,
comparing. A is not
from
compared by any
So what happened?
value.
So what happened after comparing? When I'm comparing 0 less than 5, it is returning me yes, 0 less than 5, it is true. Then it is returning me true. When 5 less than 5, it is not true. Then it is returning false. At the end of the day, I'm getting a Boolean value only. I'm getting true or false only. So if I'm writing B means I'm writing file true only, right? V value is true.
yeah, so when j equal to 0, it is true if j is equal to 0. That we understand, and that increments the value. Okay, but
Hmm.
not able to understand how it will do further.
See, when, just tell me if I'm writing. j greater than 0,
It's false.
right? So this is false or true. So while
False.
comparing for the first time, it will compare and it will replace it by false or true only, right? False or
Correct.
true only.
Yes. Yes.
But instead of comparing and returning false and true, I'm directly writing true. You understood what I'm trying to say?
Yeah. So as long as it is true, it will print the value, and the
Ah,
moment it find false, it will not give anything.
so here will it find anytime will it find false? Never. So this is an
No.
infinite loop. This is an infinite loop. Forever it will be true.
Running.
Means the
Yeah.
execution will go and go on and go on unless you stop it forcefully. It is an infinite loop. If you run it
Hmm.
and leave the computer for 100 years also, it will go on executing because it's an infinite loop,
Hmm.
right? If you'll see, if I'll run it, it will enter inside an infinite loop. It will never stop. See,
Hmm.
it is infinite loop. It's never stop. Your computer will
Hmm.
hang, but the execution will never stop. I forcefully terminated it by clicking this particular code. See, it went from 0 to 554879 up to how much value in such a microsecond. So what I can do alternative here? Can you say me? Just now we did. Huh?
Until which
Oh,
value you want.
okay.
You can use
Just
break.
break. So what it will do? If it find j is equal to 9, it can break it out. It will
Hmm.
print up to 9. It will not go inside a infinite loop. See, up to 1 to 8 it printed.
So
Under-
when we will give the boolean,
Mhm.
it will automatically compare to 0, not other than
No,
any value.
no. When we are comparing, it is returning me boolean in the backend only. See, what I am doing is, if let's say for example, there is an integer. Let's here only, I'm writing one integer CISO 2 minus 3, sorry, 2 minus 1 and CISO 1. Does it make difference? It is the same thing only. But here I
Yes.
am having the value after doing a operation. Here directly I'm printing the value. But the
Hmm.
thing is same. So if I write here a comparison value, so it will return me either true or false only. Okay. So up to the condition when it is true, it is executed. When it finds false, it stops the execution.
But in this loop, we started J as 0, right? So, okay,
So
maybe
what
we have
happened?
not scrolled down.
Here forcefully I have given it is true. Na, it will always be true.
Okay. Now I know.
Here forcefully I have given it true. I am not comparing, then it is not
Uh-huh.
returning me true or false. Here forcefully I
Yes,
have
yes, yes.
given true.
We have made
What
So
was
this
the
even zero,
loop
so
true in
even
every.
0 is true, right?
Are here I haven't compared
Hmm.
anything. Earlier
Yeah,
cases,
yeah,
I was comparing a value, then it is returning me true or false, and
Yeah.
after that the loop was getting executed. But here I have forcibly made it as true.
Okay.
Forcibly,
So it is taking J value from 1 itself by default, correct?
no. What I didn't understand what you are telling. This is the
No,
example
no,
I
like,
gave you. Yeah. Tell me.
yeah, that I understood. That I understood. Yeah, like this is just a different way of writing. So we are not giving comparing because we know at the back end it will be anyway return us true or false value. So I'm
Ah.
asking like when we printed this J system.out.println, okay,
Hmm.
so our J was declared as 0, right? So it should start
Ah,
from 0 only, right? Printing.
so we started from zero only, na? 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Okay, okay, yeah. Okay, so I was not scrolled. Okay. Hmm.
So you got it. Here forcibly I made it as true. Means always it will be true. unless I break it.
Yes, I got it.
Yes, yes.
Okay. So this is while loop. So one more loop is there. Let's do it and we'll wrap up. See, as I have already told, static member is shared by everyone. So if I have changed any value of j here, it will get reflected here also,
Yes,
right?
yes. Hmm. Right.
So in this particular loop, what is my j value? 9. After 9, the break got a disconnected.
Execute. Correct.
So what it will compare while 9 greater than 10. Is it true?
Mhm. False.
No.
No, right? Okay, good. Then run as Java application. Still, although it is false, it is printing me do while loop. Okay, let's say for
Mhm.
example, 9 is greater than, I say
8.
greater than 0. Okay, and I do j minus minus. Okay, so in do while the lines of code are written inside do, and in while the lines of code are written inside while. Okay, that is the only difference.
Yes, yes.
Okay,
Hmm. Hmm.
see, so is what does it do? Okay, just comment
To
it out
restart.
so that Mhm. just comment it out so that it doesn't print this particular line, so no confusion will be there. If I run this
Hmm.
code, what will happen? Let's see.
It will start from 9 to 1 and print do while loop every time 9 times. Hmm.
Let's print this one also, value of j, so that it will be more clear.
Yeah.
See,
Hmm.
so j was 9 in the previous case only, and the static value was shared by everyone, as I told in the previous class. So it will start from
Yeah.
9. So
Hmm.
9 do while loop as I printed. So
Hmm.
it will go up to 8, up to 10, up to what? 1, and 1 is reaches 0. 0 greater than 0, it is false. So it will not be
It, yeah,
printed.
it
Okay.
will not be printed.
Yeah. But you will see, even though it is 9 and I write I greater than 10, okay, and
Hmm.
write this condition doesn't satisfy, right? 9 greater than 10 doesn't satisfy.
Yeah.
Hmm.
And if I run it, you'll see one thing. One time it is executed. So what is the
Why?
difference you found? What is the difference you found? Here what happens? First the condition is checked, then the lines of code are executed. But in do while, first do is executed once, then the condition is checked.
Okay. Okay.
So for that reason, even though the condition doesn't satisfy, it get executed for one time. Do while will mandatorily get executed for once, even though the condition is not satisfied. Because first do is executed, then while is checked. But in while, what is what happening? First condition is checked, then lines of code are executed. But in do while, first lines of code are executed, then the condition is checked. You got the difference,
Yes.
do while and while.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes. Very well.
So, so that's why in dual, even though condition is not satisfied, it will get executed mandatorily for one time, even though the
Hmm.
condition is not satisfied. That is the major difference between do while and while.
Okay.
In while, if the condition is not satisfied, it will not get executed even a single time. But in do while, even though the condition is not satisfied, it will mandatorily get executed for one time.
Yes.
Okay. So the
Yeah.
point of execution is first in while the condition is checked, then the lines are executed. In do while the lines are executed, then the condition is checked. That's simple. That's it. Okay.
Mm. Yeah.
Okay. So we'll meet in next class.